Hello, I'm Juan here with the herd. I'm one of the animal curators. I take care of all of our living animals that we have at the museum, and today we're going to be doing a snake feeding. We're going to be starting with our venomous snakes. As you will see, the way that we feed them is we divide their cages with a plastic shield so that we can safely drop the mouse on one side, and then venomous snakes that are further down the line, they don't really have like any shield or anything like that. We kind of just drop them in there and let them go at it. For the two venomous vipers that we have here, the cottonmouth and the copperhead at the beginning, they get a live mouse, and our two rattlesnakes will get a pre-killed rat because they're larger snakes. The other non-venomous snakes down the line will get also live mice, with the exception of the yellow belly racer, which is still pretty juvenile, and that one gets crickets and other bugs from time to time. And our other two at the end there will also get pre-killed mice, because that's just what they're used to and it's safer for them. I think we'll go ahead and get started.
All right, we will wait for you. So again, we're just bringing you in so that you can experience part of the routine feeding of our educational ambassadors. As you might expect, many of them do eat rodents, and that is part of why they are important to our ecosystems. So this one is actually a western cottonmouth. As he mentioned, there is a clear divider to keep, there we go. Oh, am I coming over here?
No, I'm just separating them. Just move them out of the way.
So as you can see, for the safety, we do use a divider to separate the animal while we drop in the food. As you can see, it appears that this rattlesnake will be molting soon, hence the cloudy eyes. Can be a little more confusing for them during this time as well. Thanks, Brittany. Just seeing your comment, Brittany. We appreciate your support. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comment section. If I can't answer them now, we will try to get back to them later from the desktop computer. Oh, you're going to do the copperhead. As you can see, the copperhead is already separated for our safety. Who's next?
We can do this guy here.
Okay. And this one receives, as he mentioned, an already killed rodent, as that is what he is used to. So Brittany is asking, do the venomous snakes strike the mouse first to envenomate and then go back to eat?
Yeah, normally with a venomous snake, they will strike and then back away a little bit, let the venom take its effect. They'll always stay somewhat close to the mouse or the prey, and they'll just wait for it to kind of take over. And once they see that they are no longer moving, they'll come up and check it out. And if they think that it's dead or at least safe to eat, they'll start consuming it, usually from the head first, the way they like to go.
So Brittany, due to the acoustics in here, just in case you couldn't hear, I'm going to kind of reiterate what he said. And that was just to confirm your guess there regarding the venomous snakes, that yes, they do envenomate the prey and then give it some time to work, and then they revisit the prey once they are ready to be consumed. So that is correct, Brittany. And again, this rattlesnake is used to eating snakes that have already, not snakes, rodents that have already been pre-killed. Right now it is investigate. You're welcome, Brittany. Thanks for participating. It appears to be checking it out. And I'm going to get a little bit closer look here so you can see the lenses on the eyes are a little bit foggy right now, which tells me that it probably will be molting soon. Okay, I think we are going, oh, not yet. Right now, the rattlesnake is still investigating through its keen sense of smell and taste its food. Okay, next we are feeding the eastern diamondback rattlesnake.
This guy is normally covered up. He likes his privacy, but I'll see if he'll still strike it.
And this is a previously killed rodent as well. Again, we do that for the snakes that are used to that. We keep it in the format that's most amenable to their needs. Eastern diamondback rattlesnakes are not native to Texas. The two species are similar, but the western is usually smaller and duller in color, whereas the western also has vivid black and white rings around the tail above the rattle. And he's investigating it. Hopefully my camera is not disturbing him. Oh. Did anyone else jump? I jumped.
So he won't eat unless he's struck it first and he thinks he's envenomated it. But with this guy, his venom glands were removed at some point.
So I don't know if you could hear Juan explain that while this rodent was pre-killed prior to being fed to the rattlesnake is still used to performing the striking behavior. However, before he came to us at some point, his venom glands were removed. So to our knowledge, he no longer has venom. We still treat him as if he would, just in case. But that is part of why he gets an already killed rodent, because he doesn't have that ability, as far as we know.
Moccasin is starting to eat.
Oh, the moccasin's starting to eat. Okay, here we go.
Now we're going to be covering up the diamondback so that he's more comfortable with these.
Okay.
Is that right?
We are going to cover up the diamondback, as he said, because he is more comfortable when he has some privacy. And of course, the care of the animals is the first priority in this case, so we do always cover him. And in the ecosystems, eating these rodents is an important service that they, if you will, if that's the right term, for keeping rodents populations in check, because they can pass a lot of diseases on to humans that are really very significant. And while we do have many poisons, the downside to that is that those poisons end up making their way through the food chain and accumulate in the large predators that we want to keep, such as hawks and owls and bobcats. And so ultimately that affects their health as well. It also becomes residual in our soil and our water supplies. So by allowing the snakes to do their thing out in nature, we're really helping ourselves keep those toxins out of the ecosystem, out of the food web. Okay, and it looks like the canebrake rattlesnake is working on his as well. Oh, I'm glad you're enjoying it, Casey or Cassie. Apologies if I mispronounced that. Thank you for participating. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to post it in the comment section. If we can't get to those questions right now, we will definitely get back to them later from the computer, things like that. Now this is the desert king snake. He is a non-venomous species. And so we don't have the same protocols for feeding him, as there's no concern for the venom. He is also a snake that gets a live rodent. He did what?
He's been a pretty bad hunter as of late, so not sure if they're
Apparently, this guy's hunting skills can be hit or miss. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. And he has spotted the feeder mouse. So Brittany was asking if there's any concern with the live rodents injuring a non-venomous snake.
Yeah, that's why we never leave them unsupervised. We're always here watching the snakes, making sure that they're not getting hurt. But that is why usually if you have a pet snake, it's recommended that you feed pre-killed because it's very likely or very possible that a rodent can injure or even kill the snake.
So I don't know with the acoustics if you guys could hear, but it is a possibility, and that is why we supervise the snakes during the feeding when the animals are together, just to make sure that there isn't any injury. He's still working on that. So I'm going to go back to the... I'm glad you're enjoying it, Amber. Here is the not king snake, rattlesnake, still working on his food. As you can see, their jaws are extremely flexible, and they open wide enough to accommodate the very large bodies of the rodents. And again, you can see the eyes are cloudy here, which likely means that he's going to be molting soon, because that even includes the caps over the eyeballs. Let's see what's going on. Copperhead is still thinking about things. And apparently I missed the end of the water moccasins. My apologies on that. But he has had his food for the week. Yeah, I saw. Which one are you guys going to do next?
The racer right next to the king gun.
Okay. So while the rattlesnake is working on it, we'll come over to the yellow-bellied racer. And these, he is just going to eat some crickets. So, as we mentioned in the description, snakes don't only eat rodents, they also eat other insects and things like that that we can consider pests. So that's another important role that they have, because things like grasshoppers, for example, that they would also eat, can be destructive to crops. So by eating those and helping to keep those in check, it means less pesticide use. So even the tiny snakes that are only eating insects are still an important part of the ecosystem. I don't know if you guys managed to see him eat that cricket, but he dispatched it very quickly. Oh, here he goes in for another. And he's actually chewing it just a little bit to get it down.
You kind of like lock the food down there into their throat with their teeth on either side of their jaws.
Food into their mouth with their teeth. So he's still working on getting that cricket down. As you can imagine, it takes a little while.
He'll probably grow to be
And this one, you can't really tell because it's on video, but it's not very long, maybe a foot long at this point. They can get up to about 3 to 4 feet. And it looks like he might go for this other one. Or maybe he's full for right now. Still kind of getting those first two down. So maybe talk about, can you talk a little bit, there we go, how often they eat and why?
So in the wild, a snake will typically eat, depending on their size, around once a week, maybe every 2 weeks. And the reason for that,
Sorry, keep going.
they have very slow metabolism, which is why it takes them a pretty long time to digest food. And the reason for that is that they're usually, when they're eating, is one of their most vulnerable times to predators. So they like to limit the times that they eat to as few as possible.
So just in case the acoustics made it hard to hear, he was mentioning how their metabolism is very slow, and so they only eat about once a week. And that's also part of a, what's the word I'm looking for? Survival strategy, because their defenses are lower when they're also digesting. It makes them slower and more sluggish. Oops, sorry.
Also, as you can see with some of the other signs for a predator to come up and take the snake.
And the speckled king snake seems to know food is coming.
You can see the non-venomous snakes kill their prey this way. It's called constriction. And pretty much any snake that doesn't have venom does it this way.
So as Juan was pointing out, you can see that this non-venomous snake is using constriction to kill its prey in lieu of venom. And this is a native species. This is the speckled king snake. So it's very possible that you might see them in this region. I've seen them at the herd many times. And because they are non-venomous, obviously there's absolutely no concern. Just let them go on their way. They would rather get away from you than
The cool fact that some people
engage.
might like about king snakes is that they also very frequently eat venomous snakes, and they are immune to their venom, to local snake venoms.
What Juan just pointed out is that these snakes are infamous for eating other snakes, including venomous snakes, and are immune to their venom. So they're often considered to be beneficial for that reason as well. So right now he's still just constricting. Oh. This guy just caught another cricket. He is still looking for his food. And the canebrake rattlesnake is still working on getting its rodent down its hatch.
Desert King said got it.
Sorry, what?
Desert King got his over here.
Oh, did he? Can't really see from this angle. But this guy finally managed to get its rodent. Can't really see from this angle. Doing rat snake? Okay. And this is a Texas rat snake. They're an extremely common species, and they will quite often climb trees, things like that. So very often what people are seeing around their houses, rat snakes. I think he thinks another one is still coming.
He's distracted.
So he is starting to realize that his food is in the enclosure. And again, this is a non-venomous snake. So he will work is coming in on it right now. I apologize, guys, for the off and on because the internet connection seems to be a little bit. And this is actually a Baird's rat snake. They are native to South Texas. So as you can see, as Juan pointed out, it is scent and look for its prey. Meaning that it is lacking all pigment. So the internet connection did cut out. Apologies. But the Texas rat snake did catch its food and is working on ingesting. If you've been with us for a few minutes, you likely saw the speckled king snake capture its prey and use constriction due to being non-venomous, and it is currently working on ingesting. Looks like our yellow-bellied racer has gone in after eating quite a bit. Oh, he's hiding back there. It's a log. This guy is still working on his as well. And it looks like the canebrake rattlesnake has consumed its rodent. And it appears the copperhead has consumed its. And then again, we did see the western cottonmouth earlier. So again, it's using those teeth to kind of walk the food into its mouth. And they do have extremely flexible jaws in order to fit very large food in. Here is the albino rat snake.
Have you heard of the eastern rattle lately? Because it's got that tiny little tail right now, so it's just like.
And you can really see on this guy how he's walking it into his mouth, his teeth.
Backwards.
Yeah. That one did too.
Oh.
Or not that one.
It's not really a little more awkward for them to eat it backwards
Yeah.
because of the limbs.
Sorry, what?
Might be getting a strike.
This one?
Texas. Might be hard to catch though. At the back.
And again, this Texas rat snake is a non-venomous species. Did he finish?
Yeah.
And you can see that the albino rat snake has managed to swallow its mouse. So the large snake in the eastern half of Texas, and that's not just in the woods and fields people often see in their houses. So probably 90% of the calls that museums and animal control places like us get are about this species. So take a good opportunity to look at it. Between it and say a water moccasin or a copperhead is the head shape. It's a little more aerodynamic. In a second, I will take you over to the rattlesnake, where it's really obvious the difference that I'm talking about here. The rattlesnake, as you can see from clear pits at the base of its head that make it more of a diamond shape. And that's one way to really tell most of the venomous snakes in Texas, because with exception to the coral snake, all of our venomous snakes are pit vipers. They're going to have this these pits where the venom gives their head a distinctive shape. So that's non-venomous snakes. It's like, hey, you cannot have my. Now, some of the water snakes actually, as a defense mechanism, will kind of puff up their head to mimic that shape, which does work with other predators. Unfortunately, since humans are really apt to kill water moccasins, that may not be their best defense against humans, but that is one of their natural defenses. So do keep in mind that just because it looks like it might have pits doesn't necessarily mean that it is a venomous snake.
There is no sure trick to distinguish between venomous like 100% of the time. The best way would be to obviously know the snakes in your area.
Yeah.
Because a lot of non-venomous will do behaviors that mimic venomous snakes. Like most of non-venomous snakes, and even venomous snakes like the copperhead, if they feel threatened, they'll like vibrate their tail, they'll shake it, make it sound. Somebody that doesn't know what they're looking at might think it's a rattlesnake when it's just a rat snake or something else.
But these are kind of some of the features that we're talking about. So on the network connection, there we go. On the cottonmouth here.
Bit towards the front. They have the arrow.
Well, I mean, but the head shape accommodates.
It's for the venom glands that
right.
they have.
But even the water snakes, when they feel defensive, they can puff this out. So don't just assume that they're venomous, but really the best tactic is to just give all snakes their space. All of them are going to, it's in their best interest. Would you agree?
Yes. I would say particular snake aggressive because as far as I've seen and have known, they don't really ever chase after you. There are stories of water moccasins that have chased people, but normally what that is if you're standing between the snake and a source of water or something like that, it's going to want to get to the water even if you're in the way. So it might seem like the snake is chasing you, but it's really trying to get away to its safest area.
I can attest to the 2 times that I have had near run-ins with snake, about low connection. The first time was a copperhead, and I was definitely close to its nest. You know how mother animals can be, even human mothers. And the other time was I was trying to rescue minnows from a puddle that was drying up, and then I was surrounded by baby water moccasins.
Oh, really?
Yes. I got out of both situations okay. So just give them their space. When you come back into the exhibit hall, you can also compare your height with several of the species. Our wonderful exhibits curator painted this herself. So here we have the western diamondback and our boa constrictor. Speckled king snake. Is anybody?
Not yet.
We have red milk snake, cottonmouth, and copperhead. They only get to 3 feet.
Yeah, typically they max out at 3.
So here is one that is eaten. This one is still thinking about it, as is this one. This one is finished. This one ate all of its crickets. This one also finished its lunch for the week. You all saw this one working on it earlier. We may get a video of it molting later in the week, depending on when it happens. And it appears everyone else is finished. So I hope you found this educational. I hope this increased your awareness and knowledge of some of the local snakes. And if you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the comment section. And again, if you would like to sponsor our snake feedings, that would only be about $35 a week. So we do have the links in the description, and we appreciate your consideration. We know there are a lot of people going through hard times as well, but we appreciate your support, anything that you can help with. And we will see you next time.